Unlock your true freedom through the power of discipline. Many people see discipline as limiting, but without it, they often struggle. Struggle with things like inconsistency, procrastination, lack of progress. And at first glance, discipline and freedom seem like opposites. Discipline imposes rules and restrictions, while freedom represents the ability to do whatever you want. True freedom, though, the freedom of time, of choice, of action, comes from having control over your life. And control is achieved through discipline. Discipline's about doing things now so you can achieve a future success. I view discipline as a muscle that needs continual exercise. Later, I'll offer you some exercises that I do for you to consider. Through building my discipline muscle, by continuously working on it, I've noticed that it brings me clarity, a sense of calmness. The biggest benefit of discipline, specifically when talking about doing those tasks that I don't want to do, I build and I grow my AMCC, which is short for anterior mid-cingulate cortex. Your AMCC is the hub for many inputs and outputs. It's where we get our willpower and our tenacity from. And as we age, we lose most of our gray matter from that area of our brain. The good news is we have unlimited opportunities to exercise and grow the AMCC. Friedrich Nietzsche is quoted as saying, "He who cannot obey himself will be commanded." That is the nature of living creatures. When I first read that quote, what jumped out at me, if I don't command myself, then I will be commanded by and controlled by someone or something else. Not on my watch. Nobody's controlling me. I'm the king of my own destiny. So learning and practicing discipline allows me to keep and retain that control. And in retaining that control, I become free. Discipline equals freedom. That's what that's on the wall to remind me of. It reminds me that I have to take those hard actions. I have to take those actions that I don't necessarily want to take. Because in doing so, I know that freedom will follow. I had the discipline to make the investments. I had the discipline to build the businesses. I had the discipline to buy the real estate and learn about real estate. I had the discipline to go out there and find and seek out the proximity. The proximity to those individuals that were blazing the path before me. And because I had that discipline's paid off in now I don't have to laden my children with college debt. I literally went out, learned real estate, purchased a duplex, and that duplex is literally paying for my daughter's college education. How great is that? But if I didn't have the discipline back then, I wouldn't have realized the result now. I wouldn't have gained that the future self of me would not have gained that benefit. Discipline's paid off in that I live my lifestyle, like a very flexible lifestyle. I can drive my mom to the doctor's appointment. My kid has to move into the dorms. I can do that. I don't have to ask somebody for time off. Discipline's paid off in that I have full control over what I do and when I do it. Discipline's biggest adversary, by the way, is resistance. Resistance rears its ugly head in the form of, you guessed it, procrastination. So when I'm feeling that procrastination, that's like my spider signal going off, my spidey senses, right? If I can battle my procrastination and I can do the things that I don't want to do, then I can build my discipline And I can also grow my AMCC. Earlier I mentioned we have unlimited opportunities to grow our AMCC. Those opportunities are found in our inner torque, which stems from our procrastination. We've all experienced it. Here are some actions I take to build discipline. When I feel that resistance coming on, when I realize that I'm in procrastination, these are the things I do. The first thing I do is I slow it down. I have a saying, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And that comes from when I was learning techniques and I wanted to be as fast as the guys that were really good. They would tell me you have to slow it down. We're not moving faster than you. It looks like we're moving faster than you, but we're not. You have to slow it down, and then you can overlap the micro techniques. So essentially, I had to become aware of what I was doing. How do I become aware? Shishikenko. The best way I know of becoming aware is Shishikenko. And what I do in Shishikenko, I want to move this mic down for a second, see if this makes a difference for you guys. The one thing I do in Shishikenko is, it's a technique from Japan. It literally means point and call. So they were having a problem in their rail system, and they had to find a way of being more safe. Point and call. So they would put somebody on the platform. The left is clear, the right is clear, the platform is clear, the train may proceed. The engineer, red light, stop, green light, go, 50 miles an hour. 50 miles an hour. Like he'd line up the speed limit sign with what was on his dial. What they were doing was they were interrupting automaticity and acting in autopilot. Procrastination, you just kind of, all of a sudden you're doing it, you don't even realize you're doing it. If I'm paying attention to the things that are going on around me in my everyday daily life, like right now, Shishikenko, light, mic, laptop, mouse, printer. If I'm doing that, then I'm more apt to do it when I'm laying on the couch, or I'm out on the deck, like stargazing at birds or the bird feeder or the squirrels or whatever I'm doing. So the first step in me, sorry, UPS is outside. The first step is me slowing things down and paying attention to what's actually going on around me. The second is I reclaim that moment. The moment I realize that it's happening, I reclaim it. Newton's first law of motion, right? An object at rest tends to stay at rest, and an object in motion tends to stay in motion, remain in motion. I want to build motion. I want to build motion now. I want to use that law to my advantage. So in procrastination, when I'm sitting there, or when I don't want to move the needle, I don't feel like moving the needle, I'm doing whatever that's not really productive. We all have those moments. I realize I'm in that moment, and then I make a conscious effort to gain the momentum back. So I create motion. So what's one small action I can take right now in this second? That's the question I ask myself. What can I do right now so that I can start breaking being in rest and move into being in motion? Can I get up and turn the TV off? Can I go for a walk? Can I just walk around, one lap around the house? Can I go get a glass of water? Whatever it may be, how can I start tiny little actions, either specifically towards moving my needle on what I should be doing, or just getting in motion? Because as I'm in motion, things tend to happen. When you're doing things, you tend to do more things. When you're lying there, you tend to lie there. Continually, lie there. I remind myself of my outcome. This is the third thing I do. I remind myself of my outcome. So I'm visualizing right now, one of my big priorities right now is living a healthier lifestyle. So when I'm laying on that couch watching Netflix, or a lot of times I find myself, because I think it's productive, right? I'm sitting outside on the deck, nice cool breeze. The birds are at the feeder. The squirrels are bopping around like the hummingbirds are having hummingbird wars right now. I'm doing this. I feel like I'm restful. I'm mindful that it's actually productive, but it's really not. I'm really procrastinating. And then I become aware that I'm doing this, and that little thought pops into my mind. You have a priority, you want to be healthy. Well, I envision myself 100 years from now. I'm living to be 150. So I envision myself 100 years from now and what I'm still doing, and how much vim and vigor and energy I have in my 90s and in my hundreds and my hundreds and tens and my hundreds and 20s, and how I'm still keeping up with the young guys. I'm 53 years old. I'm still keeping up with 20-year-olds in the gym. They're like, how old are you? Like 54. Let's go. So I remind myself of that healthy outcome, that I want to hit 15,000 to 20,000 steps a day. And then I set a deadline. That's number 4. I set myself a deadline. So I know where I want to go. I want that healthy outcome. And I remind myself of that healthy outcome. Sitting on the couch isn't healthy. Sitting on the deck, although very relaxing, isn't healthy. I'm still sedentary. And then I pay attention. The 4th thing I do, I pay attention to another law. Parkinson's law. The scope of work will expand to fill the time allotted. So you ever notice how you set a New Year's resolution and you put it off, and then, or anything. You have to study for an exam. You have to get homework done. You have a meeting to prep for. It's a month out, 6 months out, a year out. You put it off, until all of a sudden, oh, shit, it's right here. I got to get going. That's the scope of work will fill the allotted amount of time. So in giving yourself deadlines, create deadlines. In my walking example, when I'm sitting on the deck and I'm like, I have to get up, I always say to myself, all right, I have to get up and I got to get my walk in before 1,500 hours. Whatever the time may be. But that time is always like right there. I know it's going to take me an hour to walk my 4 miles. So I have to leave now because at 1,500 it has to be done. Because if I push that time off, if I say I have to get my walk in by the end of the day, that doesn't work. Because then I fill that other time and I push it off and I push it off and I push it off, and then whammo! Nothing happens. I don't get the walk in. Now I'm down on my 15 to 20,000 steps. Now I'm down on my healthy lifestyle. So I set that deadline, and I make that deadline purposely tight so that I have to go and do it now. The 5th thing I do is I look at my actions and my decisions as either moving the needle forward or moving the needle backwards. So when I'm deciding what to do, I can make a decision to stay on the couch. That's a decision. I could choose not to get up off the couch and continue to watch television. Does that move the needle forward on my healthy lifestyle? No. If I get up and I go for that walk, does that move the needle? Yes. If I choose to do nothing at all, if I choose to just push it out, like I don't want to deal with it, I just choose not to do anything, that's still a decision. Doing nothing's still a decision. It's just dependent on where you're pushing that needle to. And the last thing I'm always doing is paying attention to where I see and feel that resistance. I'm paying attention to my self-talk, and then I'm ferociously attacking that. And here's where you gain those unlimited opportunities to grow your AMCC. The AMCC grows when you do hard things. Things you don't want to do. And notice I said do hard things. I didn't say do difficult things. That's the beauty of the AMCC. You can't always do non-difficult things, right? Sometimes you have to take that cold shower or that cold dip. The harder the things, the better the growth. So for me, an ice bath would be really like something really hard. Like I'm not an ice plunge type of guy. That would really send my AMCC like through the stratosphere. I'm not there yet though. I'm not that disciplined. Where my buddy does 75 hard, and now he's on phase 27,000 or whatever. And it's actually, I think it's phase 2. But now ice baths are part of it, and he does his ice bath, and it's kind of like not that big of a deal. He's like, yeah, I never really want to do it, but it's not that big of a deal. Me, I'm like, I dip my toe into just the cold water coming out of the faucet, and I'm like, wah! So what are some small ones that I practice and that you could practice that keep the momentum going, right? Remember I said it's things you don't want to do, not necessarily difficult things that you find hard. And the hardness scale goes from like 1 to 10. So at night, one of the things at night is, again, my priority, healthy lifestyle. I like to have a snack at night. Sometimes I want a snack at night. I can either have the ice cream, which is actually pretty easy, or the potato chips. Those are pretty easy things. Or I can sit there peeling a cucumber, cutting that up into pieces, taking that cucumber, putting it on some cottage cheese, a couple of chickpeas, dried chickpeas, baked chickpeas. But to do cottage cheese and then the cucumbers and then the chickpeas, especially if I have to roast the chickpeas myself, if I don't have pre-roasted ones, that all takes time. It takes energy. I don't feel like it. I don't want to it's just easier to sit on the couch. Once I have that thought that I don't want to, boom, get to it. I should really put that dish away. Nah, I can just leave it here laying on the table. It's no big deal. I'll just take care of it later. Bam! Get to it. Get up, put the dish away. I should go out and lock the shed or lock the car or whatever, but it's really cold out. It's the middle of January in the Northeast. It's freezing out. Better go get your jacket, otherwise you're going to be cold. Get out there, get it done. And that list goes on and on and on. You could think of millions of examples in your own life where it's just those little resistance points. But now you're training your mind, you're growing your AMCC, you're building that tenacity, that willpower. You're creating all of this within you. You ever notice why, there's a saying that if you want something done, give it to busy people? And it sounds contradictory, right? Like, if they're busy, why would I give it to them? Because they're just execution maniacs. They have the discipline. I may not want to do this, but I'm just going to get it done, get it done, get it done. Something in motion tends to stay in motion. That's busy people. Busy people have that momentum. So remember, it doesn't have to be a difficult task, but it does have to be something that you don't want to do. And your self-talk is your biggest indicator. Your self-talk becomes your best friend. I love using things that naturally occur and turning the tables on them. Our self-talk's one of them. Automaticity is another one. Another big one is automaticity. If I can create habits that I'm automatically doing that are benefiting me, that's phenomenal. Like in the morning, I don't even realize the second I open up the cupboard, I keep my vitamins by my coffee cup. And I specifically don't put my coffee cup on the coffee pot because I want to open the cupboard. And when I open that cupboard, it triggers me to grab my vitamins. So every morning I know, I don't even think about taking my vitamins anymore. There are days where I'm like, did I take my vitamins this morning? And I know I did because I had my coffee. But this is where all of this ties into each other. Remember, in each moment of your life, you're making a decision. And that decision either moves the needle forward towards your achievement or it moves it away from it. And it's your choice which direction you will move the needle in. So I ask you, since it's your choice, and since you are the king of your destiny or the queen of your destiny, Will you choose to move the needle forward or just leave the needle where it is? How are you going to use what you learned today to go out there and crush life? It's your choice. What direction are you going to move in? Guys, we live up here in the numerator, not down here in the denominator. Numerator, denominator, right? Go out there, be unstoppable, and absolutely crush your day. Come here, Pooch.